Don't know why, but the start stoppy button ain't working with the hotkey right now. So, anyhow, yosh. Welcome to Steins episodic review, episode 5. We obtained the IBN 5100, and we are bringing it back to the lab to see what happens. And it was purposely dropped off for Okabe to later find. It was given to the shrine around 10 years prior. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. Now you're starting to get different dates and information thrown out there, and a mystery individual who dropped it off, knowing Okabe would need it. Someone. Not necessarily Okabe, but someone. So, anyhow, Suzuha looks upon a pin in her possession. Very interesting. And unknown. And she finds Okabe and Makise carrying the IBN 5100 to the lab and says once again, "What's up?" Okabe reveals the contents in words. She guesses it correctly being the IBN 5100. I think they have it in a box. So, and she asks where it was found. He tells her the truth. It was at the Akihabara shrine. Suzuha seemingly recognizes Makise. And that's a very interesting, weird, unknown tease as well. Suzuha seemingly recognizes Makise. And not just recognizes her in some way, but in a negative way. She gets kind of all spazzed out and goes into kind of fight or defensive position and seemingly a lot of anger. What the heck is that about? Like, glares at her, right, staring a hole right through her type of a deal. I mean, you would think a cat fight was just about to break out or something. But she seemingly holds her emotion. But somehow, in some way, knows Makise, Kurisu. And Mr. Braun, big tough guy, he, to say the least, he is built. Good grief. He could lug any TV on his own. But Mr. Braun, who's her boss, he calls her into the shop. Let's get to work. And there's a shot of Suzuha having walked into the shop, and she's like pondering, alluding to a bit more than what has been revealed to the viewers, which is, I find to be a great touch. Great touch for those who are analyzing every second of the show. But Daru, mild hentai. Oh boy. Okabe and Makise reveal the IBN 5100 to Daru, the super hacker, and Mayuri. Makise mentions she doesn't follow Okabe. Okabe thanks Mayushi. Daru works on learning more about the IBN 100 and how it works and how we get this sucker moving. Another Daru hentai moment. Mayushi gives a tour of the lab to Makise, and makes Mayushi promise to never shower at the lab again due to the potential unknown with probably Daru and Okabe there. And once again, very weirdly mentions without restraint, mentions she is Okabe's hostage. Makise is stunned by this. She's like, it's time to call the cops. They're like, whoa, 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 whoa. Choto mate here. Choto mate. Mayuri mentions she is willingly his hostage. So Makise refrains from calling the coppers on them. Very interesting. So, you know, just one of those things where it's adding depth to the world. Very good. And yet we don't know why that is such. But anyhow, Okabe goes off to buy spare parts for the IBN 5100. Daru concludes he needs certain parts to get it 100% functional. And these would probably be fairly rare parts, I would assume. Suzuha finds him. Once again says, "What's up?" And she asks about the status of their progress and helps him a little bit with the parts they need and references the most knowledgeable person of PCs. Tells that that person is dead, however, and has been for quite some time. Very interesting. Okabe asks of her and Makise what that was all about. Good question. I think anybody would be like, yeah, hey, what was that about? That was some weird, awkward tension in the air. And why were you behaving as such? Good question. Given they had assumedly just met, and indeed they had just met. According to Suzuha, she has just met her and has done nothing, or rather anything, yet. And gets a bit angered and promises Okabe that she will. Tells him to take caution of her, specifically for his health, I guess. Very interesting. A helicopter suddenly starts flying over. She panics, ready to take cover, and spazzes out about an air raid. He tells her, "Oh, it's fine. Don't worry about it. It's just for the fireworks tonight," type of a deal. She claims to have never seen them before, but has heard about fireworks. So she runs off to check them out. Who wouldn't? If you hadn't ever seen fireworks and only heard of fireworks, you'd want to go check those suckers out if you could. So she does such. And he tells her specifically where to be to see him and all that jazz. And she asks for Okabe's email, and he gives it out to her willingly. Why not? Anyhow, Makise begins to care of the truth behind all this stuff going on. And she decides to become a member because the curiosity has gotten to her about all this stuff that's going on, what she thought was not real, but has seemingly become real before her eyes. She will be a member. She is committed to be a member temporarily until she flies back to America. Now, see, that gets into the tricky territory again, with whether she's originally from Japan or not. That bit, has always kept me kind of confused. Whether she was of Japan, went to America, sciencey, comes back to Japan temporarily, and then goes back then was going to go back to America, but whatever case. She wants to be here for now. Suzuha emails Okabe about the fireworks in just sheer excitement, and she's amazed at them. She really likes them. That's awesome. Makise lab coat pose with Okabe. Oh, nothing like that lab coat pose, that shot. And then that's a really cool shot. I think that's a good wallpaper too. At least there's a different kind of version of it. But anyhow, we get another Daru mild hentai moment. I don't know how you explain them, but I don't have the details. I don't even want the details. Makise gets hungry. And they make ramen, because what else are you going to eat over there? Cup noodles. It's probably all they have, isn't it? That and schools. That's all you see in anime is schools. Interestingly enough, I just thought of that. Steins doesn't have a school. I don't know if I ever even thought of that or realized it. Usually you always have a school in an anime. It's very rare for an anime not to have a school. Just thought of that. I don't know. Never thought to compare, or of that comparison. Very interesting. So Okabe loses at a board game to Makise. Makise is very intelligent, and Okabe is just all talk. Okabe tries to cheat and fails. Makise drinks Dr. Pepper, which is, by the way, the best drink in the world, so long as you don't mind losing your teeth. It's the best drink, according to scientists. It is really good, though. If my teeth were invincible, and if the drink was healthy and all that, I would have no problem drinking it more often. But I want my teeths. So, don't mind me. Sometimes I pronounce words a little different just to kind of be unique. It's something I've kind of been doing mostly off camera for maybe 3 years. I don't know. But anyhow, it's making its way on cam. Teeth are teeth. So, anyhow, Okabe gets angry at Makise all of a sudden, due to her calling him Okabe. He yells at her to a fair extent. He gets angry. My name is Hoen Kyoma. He demands she calls him that. She actually breaks down a bit and cries over it. That, I think it's, I don't know. I don't want to necessarily say something I shouldn't. So maybe we'll just leave it at that. But it's interesting to just observe and ponder that, I guess. I'm not gonna say the rest, but you shush, stomach. We're gonna have food after one more of these. So, Makise stays the night at the lab. Just two guess, too thrilled about everything to be away from what's going on. Very interesting. She gives out the info that she has not seen her father for several years, and her mother awaits for her in America, and just no need to contact them. No need to contact the mother. But anyhow, Daru boots up the IBM 5100. He boots it up successfully. And then there's a whatever the case, they do the Z program stuff, dig in, 1973, CERN founded 1954, retail version of IBM was 1975, whatever the case, good grief, I'm lost in the details. But anyhow, they smuggled in the program for the research. Secret program. Good grief. Makise reads off the English. See, that's where it kind of trips me up. Is she from America or not? Where's she originally from? Type of a deal. Anyhow, Makise reads off the English because they cannot. They are, they're living in Japan. They don't got the English, so Makise reads off the English. This is a pretty darn good thing with the writing, actually, for the character to be necessary within the plot. So I like that. To have some sort of use that the others don't, type of a deal. And then we get a Daru hentai moment. References his 2D women. Oh boy. And then there's CERN talk of a Z program. And the time travel wordage is revealed. They apparently have researched it for 40 years. And then they go into some more details here. Before, they were limited. They didn't have the machine to read off certain secret information. They needed the program on the IBM 5100 to do that. Anyhow, phase 1. LHC, Large Hadron Collider. Phase 2, lifter use, electricity and aluminum. Phase 3, animal test. Phase 4 is pretty much a given at that point. Human testing. Therefore, we're thrown back to human is dead mismatch, Jellyman's report. Now, with how far they've gotten, Daru at this point, the super hacker, is spooked. And what would it be? I mean, hacking into a top organization or anything like that. Good grief. That's a lot of tension there. A lot of tension on that rope. A lot of tension. Daru is spooked and at this point is hesitant to go further. He don't want to go further. Okabe would like to, at this point, send Makise away to protect her for her own good, but she wants to stay. She can't give it up. She wouldn't be able to sleep or anything. She's got to see it all the way through. But very interesting on the little minor observation with Okabe wanting to send Makise away for her safety, to stay out of this, with how deep they could dig and what they might be getting into here. That shows off how good Okabe is. Willing to protect the female. It's very good. Very, very good. It's a slight insight into his character there, showing how good he is. So, She's willing to stay. She's staying. You can't convince her otherwise. So it just shows a mild care for a female, which is a good thing. Darrow ponders if they haven't detected them hacking in yet, that they're still good at this point. So he's kind of okay with a little bit further. So they read into some articles they find on Jellyman's reports. Several human deaths are entailed. April 3, 1921, New York, man found in a wall, jelly-like. And this kind of gives you some horrific imagery in the show at this point. So, it shows off that they were capable of time travel, but it's flawed, it's skewered. They have not perfected it yet. October 2, 1972, an Indian city roadside. Another person jelly-like. So all these oddities were found, but nothing was ever made of them, or things were covered up, or whatever the case. We didn't really get into that, but here's another. May 4th, 1936. Jelly-like man found on a mountain. There's 14 reports in total, or 14 other ones, whatever the case. Probably total, but anyhow, going into those, Makise gives a short explanation of what she concludes based on all that information, what's going on. They can't fit all of that which they're trying to send back in time through the black hole. So that's why things are getting jellified. So if they can find a way around that, then the time travel would probably be possible. But how do you do that type of a deal? So they at least have researched for 40 years. They sent someone back to 1921, 1972, and 1936. And there's 11 other reports. So yeah. And before that, they did animal testing. Good grief. And because they sent them back in time, people found them like that back in time. Boy, oh boy. And then they would have the articles about it showing up, and then they'd want to collect the articles to make sure that no one got suspicious of this or that, and somehow they would be able to cover them all up. But how would they cover them up in the past, But I guess safe to assume nobody connected the dots. Anyhow, we get another Darrow hentai moment. Okabe laughs. He plans to build a time machine before CERN can perfect theirs, and then rule the world. That is what he concludes at the end of episode 5 here. Then you get teaser of episode 6, Steins Gate. All right. Who knows what the best moment of this one was? Probably all that tense info there about more insight of what we got a taste of last episode. We get a tidbit more. We get a slice of the cake here. All those Jellyman report type stuff. That is probably the highlight. Whatever has the most weight, whatever's hype worthy, whatever has the most meat and potatoes, that type of a deal. All right. So let me know your thoughts on this episode. And we'll jump into the review of episode 6. And then I gotta grab some chow. Hopefully there's not any nasty reports like that next episode. But anyhow, thank you very much for watching. Stay tuned for more, and I will see you up ahead. Hopefully we can do these quicker, but we're pretty much taking up the time of the episode equivalent to the review. It's kind of amusing, but anyhow, I will see you up ahead. As always, take a cool.